Hi, everybody. Hi, Joel.
Hey Mia, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Happy whatever this week is, third week in July, something like that. Feels like
Yeah,
it's always something going on. Somebody's always traveling somewhere, right?
we got a lot of Jiggoot loungers traveling.
We do. We have some, we're going to show some links later of people that are doing some cool stuff. Stan Amira has already started her 50th birthday trip off right in New York with this upgrade to the crazy, what was it? A really fun, crazy hotel room, right?
Yeah, penthouse suite in downtown Manhattan that she paid $99 for.
That's so good. It's so juicy. I love it. So,
Yeah.
listen, if you're just tuning in, you are now here at Jgoot Village, where we teach travelers to travel in first class and business at coach prices. Right, Joel?
Yes, that's exactly what we do. Now, normally we talk about the two rules that that are most effective to help you do that.
Hmm.
Today we're going to do the opposite. We're going to talk about I had a bunch of finance friends visiting in town. We call them friendcations, and they were here this weekend, and it kind of inspired this Pareto principle of all of the things in travel that so many of us do or used to do
Yeah.
don't really help nearly as much as the 20% of things that you can do. So we're going to talk about all of those things that so many people so often spin their wheels doing
Yeah.
for not a whole lot of effect.
I have to tell you, sometimes I learn better through what not to do. Honestly, like when I see other people's mistakes too, like the fashion faux pas, I'm like, "Ooh, okay, I'm going to learn. I'm not going to learn the hard way on that." So, listen, if you're just tuning in, if you see here at the bottom, you go to streamyard.com/Facebook if you want your name and your face to show up. Which would be great. And that way we can see who it is. But please comment. Please tell us who you are. Please tell us where you're at, where you're originally from, and if you've taken any fun trips lately. And every one of these comments gets you entered in to the contest for our travel savings card. Joel, hit it. You got it there?
I do. $100 travel savings card.
Yes. What can I do with that $100 travel savings card?
So it's good for up to $100 in savings at over 1 million hotels, car rental agencies, or my favorite way to use them is towards activities and excursions.
Yes, me too, because they can get a little pricey, right? So it's sort of fun to just say, okay, I'm going to have a little fun with this one. Listen, we have some people coming in. So we have, I'm not sure who this is, but if you go to streamyard.com/Facebook, we'll be able to see your name. But they're excited about being here right now. They've seen a lot of our older videos, and there's a lot. So you've been busy. Ray, it's good to see you living in San Francisco Bay. He's from Winnipeg. Nice. Antoinette from LA. We have somebody live in Fort Worth. We have our friend Santa Mira. Hello for Avianca flight Bogota to Sao Paulo. We were just
Ah,
talking about you.
she's logging in from the air. That's awesome.
I love that. Carol, good to see you from Maryland. We have originally from California, from the Phoenix area. Hello, Kate from Vegas. Somebody says they're visiting, and I'm in San Diego. Just returned from Tampa visiting family for the first trip in a long time. That was me a couple weeks ago. Whoever that is out there, it was weird, but we did it. I'm gonna do a few more. Hi, Slobodanka. Always good to see you in Vegas. Meryl from Chicago, but live in San Diego. I grew up in Champaign, little FYI, a little south of there. Just booked a Christmas market trip to Europe for December. Joel, have you ever done one of those? The Christmas
Right,
market trips?
I was just sending a link. Gone to Europe in Christmas?
The Christmas market, yeah.
I have not yet. I've been reading from a lot of subscribers who say it's amazing.
I have heard the same thing, like crazy amazing. There's some little town though here in the States that actually does that as well. I'll have to find out what that is. Hi, Mary. She's here from Denver, going to Napa on Thursday. Drink wine, right? Beth from Chandler here for the fun-filled video and great info. Yeah, this is going to be pretty jam-packed. So we're gonna focus on the Pareto method, which I did know about, but he's the originator of 80/20. So you're hanging out with some numbers guys this weekend, huh?
Yeah. So this was, I believe, our seventh friendcation that all kind of started through the Jgoot way of travel. One of our friends found cheap trips. All of us went and joined. And ever since, we've met at each other's hometowns. Someone takes a turn hosting, or we've gone to Turks and Caicos. We've gotten together on multiple times for vacations.
Was that your fishing buddy guys?
Nope, different set of friends. So
Okay,
these
you have
are
good groups.
yeah, these are all actual, like, the couples. These are my wife's childhood friends,
Oh,
and they're still
fun.
best friends. And now the husbands all got in on the action. Once Michelle and I got married, all the husbands said, "Hey, this isn't fair. You guys are taking girls trips. We want couples trips
Who's
too."
this Joel guy, and how can we hang out with him?
So yeah,
Mm.
we've got one who's a stockbroker, one who is a financial, he manages the endowment at Yale. Kind of big deal finance guys. And I don't know,
Wow.
I got inspired to kind of talk about this from a finance approach.
Which I love. I mean, number crunching is always great. Averages, law of averages, and then yeah, adding in saving money. I'm totally in from it. Sage says she's here from JFK, waiting for her flight to LAX. These are always interesting stories. Had a 3-week Italy vacation planned out for last year, and then COVID hit. Looking forward to planning another one again this coming summer. I feel you on that. There's a lot of stories out there, and Mira, always in the know, knows that it's Leavenworth, Washington that has the Christmas market. I mean, I heard it's just like literally like being in Europe. So so yay. All right, well, let's jump in. Give me a little history on Vilfredo Pareto. Fancy
Yeah.
Italian
So
name.
back in the 1800s, he was an economist, and we've all heard of the 80-20 rule, and you hear about that in kind of just generic platitudes, but it applies anywhere you go. You go into a gym, and to a certain degree, there are probably about 80% of the people there that are just kind of going and getting very, very mediocre results. And they're probably working multiple times harder than the 20% of people who are there, who are doing just the most important things and getting 3, 5, 10 times the results that everyone else is. And Pareto observed this, and the initial observation was with wealth distribution in the country of Italy. And the more he dug, the more he found that exists everywhere. And the hypothesis is that
Brooke says, crap, you've been following me to the gym, by the way. Me too. But yes, so the hypothesis.
Yeah. I mean, the hypothesis is that, it exists everywhere. 20% of the world's wealth belongs, or 80% of the world's wealth belongs to 20% of the people. Landowners, 80% of the land is owned by 20% of the people. And it just kind of works everywhere. And it hit me that that's very much the case with travelers. Most of the comments we see from people saying, help, I need help finding this fare, it's because they travel the way they always have, and they're putting the majority of their efforts into things that only make a 10 or 20 or 30% difference. Yeah. So they're putting 80% of their effort into things that only, change the price by 10 or 20%. Whereas there are 20% of those activities that can generate 80, if not 90, if not 100% savings. So rather than talking about the 20%, we talk about that quite a lot. We're going to start off with the 80% that people normally do. And then we're going to compare that to if you just made a switch to how you go about planning trips, and see if that works for you. See if that helps you spend less. And as you know, we have a coaching program where we teach you to do better and then better and then better, with the end goal, spending 10 or 20 cents on the dollar by focusing on the right activities that save that 80 or 90%.
And we have it here. Also, just type interested in the comments if you could, if you want more information about that travel coaching program. That is called The Lounge, by the way. So when you hear us talk about the Jay Goot Lounge, we have some loungers that are in here today as well. So they'll probably be dropping some information in here too. And I got to tell you, Joel, that the big thing about this, about talking about these 80% of things, is that's also not only are you not getting the great deals, but you're wasting time.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about that. Not good.
Yeah. And we see it every day. Before I discovered this way of travel, I did it. And we've talked about that in plenty of other videos, so we don't need to get into it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I learned that, and I spent exponentially more than I needed to because I didn't just, I spent all of my time in the wrong places.
Sure, sure. I mean, and you can go back and look at the videos also if you're here. Obviously, in the village, we have a ton of videos, and that's all in our resources. So you can go back and see a lot of the information that we put out there in the past. But I do like that we're flipping this a little bit because even though we can see over and over again and no, just do this, you do need to hear of what not to do. I know I do.
Right. Yeah, and it's all stuff we've all done. This is how I traveled for the first 20 years of my adult life, 15 years of my adult life.
Sure. And you've been in this world for a while too, just so you guys to give you a little backstory real quick on Joel. I mean, this is something you've been doing for a while, the number crunching, the algorithms and so forth, which is how we put out a lot of the information on those daily flight notices that you get when you're part of the lounge. So this wasn't just sort of a rolling in kind of thing. You did it the right way, the wrong way, and then the right way a couple times. We learned from
Right.
we learned from
Well,
you.
and that was kind of the birth of the Jagut way of travel. Before that, I traveled like everyone else and spent tens of thousands of dollars every year if we wanted to travel a lot. And if it wasn't in the budget, we didn't travel. And that's how most people are. But, in a previous career, I wrote, as Mia said, I wrote a lot about algorithms and numbers and math, and I wrote books for Google.
You're so
That.
googly.
And that naturally transitioned into finding cheap seats on planes.
Yeah.
Airlines have algorithms too. And when you learn how to look for weaknesses in those algorithms, it can mean savings that are just so obscene, most people won't believe what you paid.
Sure.
The cool thing is the airline algorithms are a lot easier to figure out than Google's algorithms.
Right.
So
they're a little more transparent on that too. Melvin has a quick story. He says, just barely avoided signing up for the Hilton Grand Vacations, trying to find out a way to get the most out of my travel dollars. I just want to get to where you are, Joel.
cool. Well, yeah, that sounds
Joel
like
McDonald way.
a bullet dodged.
Yes, it does.
We're not going to get too much into timeshares, but yes, glad to hear it, Melvin. Thanks for sharing.
That sounds like a hard stop no, though, just as a real thumb for timeshares, right?
Yeah, they can be a good value. The problem is the second they are no longer a good value, they are a ball and chain around your ankle.
Yeah.
That are very hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's super
it gets tricky.
Yeah.
Well,
tricky.
Let's dive in and talk some numbers.
All right.
The Pareto Method.
And I love that you're saying get 3 to 5 times more out of your travel budget than before. Yes, please.
Yeah. And I mean, as I did this, it was very ironic because, as you know, anyone who's seen us before, we talk about 2 rules, 2 different things, 2 ways that we find great deals on travel. And I found it very interesting that I thought of several other activities that I've done in the past that many people typically do, because we hear it from our tens of thousands of subscribers, that just don't get the same results. So we've got, 80% of things that I would argue that you can completely ignore, so that you can focus on the 20% that do matter, which we'll get to, and save more than most people ever thought possible. And the first is cruise discounts. We get this all the time. Multiple times a week, we hear, hey, you got any good deals on cruises? Especially now that cruise ships are starting to open back up. We took a little hiatus from that question for about a year, but
we did. That's the first time I've heard you say it in a while.
It's all of a sudden a very, very popular question.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Cruise discounts happen all the time, but they're anywhere from 10 to 30, maybe if you're really, really lucky, 40% discounts. And for the average traveler, that might sound attractive, but it pales in comparison to a 95% off flight or hotel. And I lived this example myself. When I got married, my wife and I went on a honeymoon. I got remarried, so we took my kids on a family moon after that. So it was a separate trip. And I did that. I grabbed what I thought seemed like a great deal on a cruise. It was 35% off. It seemed like a fantastic deal. Unfortunately, we paid almost double what we paid for the cruise just to fly ourselves to Miami. So, and that's just an example. Like, if you do it the other way around, if you just schedule trips around screaming deals on flights or free flights, you can do whatever you want with the other stuff. Right. So cruises are a very common example. If you stop scouring the internet for cruise deals and put that same energy or a fraction of that energy into finding airfare deals, it'll change your life.
Yeah, it's so amazing. But you're right. I mean, you see that, and oh my gosh, it's like Pavlov's dogs. We're all drooling and like, hey, let's book that, and all you see is the cruise, and then you forget that you have to get to that boat dock.
Right.
It's not included. So, all inclusives.
All inclusives. The number 2 most common request. Do you have any good deals on all inclusives? Or you'll see it posted on, sites like TripAdvisor or other travel forums or whatever. Where are the great all inclusives? Great all inclusives are everywhere, especially Mexico, the Caribbean, some in Asia, not as common in Europe, but they also exist there. But it's the same principle. It's very, very rare that you can find an all inclusive that is significantly discounted. Now you can go on points, but again, you don't build your trip around points for an all-inclusive cruise. You get the right points, and that takes care of itself. Or you find a cheap all-inclusive. But again, it doesn't matter if you get a screaming deal to an all-inclusive that obligates you to a certain time if you have to pay a fortune to fly there.
Let me show you this caveat real quick, just because it made a lot of sense. Unless you live in the city that the cruise sails from, you got us on that one, and I like that. Good point.
Totally fair.
Excellent point. Then cruise away.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, my brother and I, we were barely out of college, and we sent my parents on a 20-year anniversary cruise. It's because they lived in LA, and they cruised down to Ensenada. So yes, absolutely fair point. If you live in the city and you don't have to deal with airfare, great. Yeah.
There's your
keep an eye out for.
That's right, totally.
For cruises.
So so all inclusives though are just same thing. Rule number 2, like not great.
Yeah, most all inclusives you are going to have to fly to because they aren't all that common in the States. But again, the discounts 10, 20, 30%. But the Jagut Way isn't about saving nickels and dimes. It's about saving literally 80 or 90%. On average across all of your trips. But that's going to be a very difficult task if you weigh yourself down surfing for all-inclusive deals, cruise deals.
Sure.
This is another common one. We get requests more often than once daily for, I need to go to a funeral. And a lot of times you'll get people that are giving outdated information. Call the airline and ask for a bereavement fare. Most of the airlines haven't done that for over a decade.
That's what I thought.
And the ones that do still,
movies. Yeah.
What's that?
I think you only hear about it in movies.
Right.
Seriously. But
I do remember it, and I think it saved me 10 or 20%. And there is one airline, I don't want to say who, it's one of the major US carriers. They do still offer it, but it's like a 10% discount. And that doesn't do a whole lot when you're looking at $700 flights and you were hoping to spend $200. A 10% discount isn't even, that doesn't do anything at all from a savings standpoint.
Yeah.
Then you're paying 400% above market instead of 500%.
And if you're going with family, just multiply that by your family members. It's crushing. You're already going through something so awful, and then to be dealing with that as well. So that's worked out recently for one of our members as well too, to be able to book some trips. Correct?
Yeah. Well, and sadly, I'm going to have to rely on that as well. I just found out that someone, a friend, the brother of some very good friends who I grew up with, just died. So we're going to be looking at a funeral very soon. And
Oh, so
the,
funny.
I mean, not that that would make or break whether we're going, but those kind of decisions, when it wasn't in the budget and you
Mhm.
suddenly have to drop 5 times what you're expecting to pay,
Yeah.
that's not a fun experience on top
Yeah.
of an already unfun experience. But
Yeah.
since I have a plan, I haven't even really worried about it. It's been a busy day at work. I already know that I have rule 1 in place. I have rule 2 in place. If I get a good fare and if I get lucky, great. If I don't, I have a get out of jail free card
Mhm.
that I don't have to worry about it. I'll spend
True.
no more than 20 minutes figuring out how we're going to get to that destination. Most
Yes.
people, when they hear this news, they're spending hours, if not days, trying to
Mhm.
figure out how to find just a
How to get home.
semi-reasonable flight.
Yeah, and now you can't even drive. I mean, let's face it too. Gas prices are up, rental cars are a problem. And Joel, just because we may have some new viewers in here, can you just quickly breeze through rules 1 and 2 so we'll
Sure.
know what we're comparing it to?
So, and we'll get to that. That is the 20% that we encourage you to focus on.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, real quick,
Mhm.
rule 1: look every day whether you're planning a trip or not, and go where the deals are. Most people resist that. They say, "Oh, well, I'm not planning any trips." Well, that
Mhm.
you're missing the point. The whole idea here, when you look every day, is the screaming deal that's 90% less than you were expecting to pay is what has you pulling out your calendar and going, let's go to Alaska.
Yep.
Sage Major, I believe, is watching. He
Yeah,
commented earlier.
he did. Yeah.
They did that. They planned a trip to Europe for $267. Weren't planning on going, but it fit with their spring break, and they're going. He just posted a couple weeks ago that they're going this summer to Alaska. Why? Because they stumbled across $158 flights.
That's right.
You don't find those kind of trips if you're not looking for them.
You
They
don't. And
don't wait around for when you get around to looking for them.
they
That's
don't.
for sure.
That's how I booked that trip to I have that trip coming up to New York. Very last minute, going next month. Everybody hates New York in August. I love it. I'm here for it because I used to live there. So, but I would
Especially
not
if
have
it's like 50 or $60 to fly there.
exactly. That can make me happy about it. Let's all send some good energy to Sage because it sounds like they're having some travel troubles right now with just some flights. So we're gonna send you some good travel safe juju. So yes, that's rule number 1.
And rule number 2: always have points as a backup plan, because sometimes, I mean, my funeral example is one of them. I may get lucky and I may find affordable flights, but odds are they won't be, because it's
Yeah.
probably going to be next weekend, which is very
Mhm.
last minute.
Mhm.
And we probably are going to have to leave on a Friday and come back on a Sunday or Monday when everyone travels, and
Yeah.
it's going to be expensive. So just by having those points, I have the choice. But if you don't have the points, you don't have the choice, and you have to pay the price that the market is charging. And I say that's also about an 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, it's going to be expensive. 20% of the time, you get lucky, but 80% of the time, it's going to be
Mhm.
expensive. And if you don't have points, you're going to pay through the nose.
You
If you do
really,
have
really will.
points, no problem. I basically, when I book that flight, I will say, I don't like that price. How many points does it take? And points are a
Mhm.
lot easier to earn than dollars. Infinitely easier to earn than
It's
dollars.
amazing. It's
So
amazing.
that's rules 1 and rules 2. We'll kind of wrap things up with that, but
Mhm.
let's talk about some other examples. A lot
Oh,
of people chase Groupon deals.
guilty. Guilty right here, sir. Yeah, they're just and they throw them at you so much and it just seems like there's a constant reminds me of Macy's. Like when does Macy's have regular prices, right? Because there's like always a sale. It's same thing with Groupon. So keep that in mind as there's just always constantly something being thrown at you. So
Now,
why
if
not
you
use them?
have
Mhm.
lots of points, this might be an okay option. But
Mm.
if you don't, you know why these deals are so good? Because most people buy the lodging first and then they don't redeem it. So that's free money to the
Oh,
they don't redeem it. Why? Because flights are so ridiculously expensive, because they've painted themselves into a corner on a certain destination.
right.
Most people paint themselves into a corner on a time, and the odds, like I said, the odds are about 80-20 against you. Whereas if you just watch for phenomenally good airfare deals,
Mm-hmm.
well, then, who cares if you only save 30% instead of 50%? You save 90% on the most expensive part of your trip.
Yeah.
So you can afford to spend a little more on the lodging and go exactly when that lines up with the bargain flight that you found.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Groupon, Living Social. I just thought of another one, and I'm forgetting about it. But all of these, I mean, and not to bash Travel Zoo. Some deals include airfare, but most don't. And if it doesn't include airfare, well, then you find yourself in a bind, and you're going to spend a lot more than you could have. Double, triple, quadruple. I mean, we've talked about this in the past. Who here has had to go to a funeral or a guy's trip or a destination wedding and just been bitching and moaning at the prices you have to pay to fly there? Because it's
so broke.
Hardly ever what you're expecting to pay.
It's really not. And by the way, we see some of your questions coming in. We have Brooke that's out here in the audience. If you see Brooke J. Goot, that is one of our fearless contributors and stellar info people that she keeps us going. Little FYI. So you'll see she's going to answer a lot of your questions as well. We have some questions about where to watch for them. So when you're ready, if we can get to that as well. But that's the interesting thing back on the New York trip, because I was worried. I got the really cheap trip, but what was great is I think I did actually look on Travel Zoo and then Airbnb, and I got me some great deals. I got me some really fun things that I was able to stay in different places. Two of my girlfriends that we were in New York back in our 20s, back in the 90s, we're gonna get together in an Airbnb. So I didn't have to worry as much about the cost, even though I did really get some good deals. So what's Lori had to say? We're currently enjoying a vacation in Southwest Florida. We saved so much money by traveling Wednesday to Wednesday because the airfare was so much cheaper. Yes. Jay Goot way, lady. Jay Goot way.
Yeah. And, so many people say, oh, well, I only have so much vacation time. By going Wednesday to Wednesday instead of Friday to Sunday, Lori used the exact same number of vacation days, but she was able to cut down what is typically the most expensive part of most people's trips.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just common sense. Find the deal, schedule the trip around it. And there are so many deals out there. When you have a strategy for looking for them, if a deal doesn't work with your calendar, no problem. There'll be more the next day. That's why we look every day.
And it is releasing that control a little bit, and then it's so much fun once you're just not like really stuck on a date. Yeah. I have to say this real quick. I thought this was interesting. We mentioned before, all-inclusive resorts are illegal in the U.S. and its territories, right? Because you just mentioned that, and then someone else said. Down here, we found out we got a screaming deal on tickets to Puerto Rico, couldn't find an all-inclusive, forgot that they don't exist in the US. So yeah, I know, but I didn't know that either, so I had to mention that to say, wow, that's a new one, not so new, but new to me.
Right.
All right,
let's see I see a lot of questions coming in too. This, we spend 98% of our time in the private coaching group and help with our much smaller group of travelers with their needs. But let's move on, because this is the time where we try to get to as many other questions that we have. So let's get to the other four deals. Four things that I say don't even compare to the two. So car rentals. This is a very popular topic, even inside of Jay Goot Lounge. But I mean, my own Costa Rica trip last month, we've traveled first class. We spent a total of $500 on $9,000 worth, $8,000 worth of first class seats. We spent a total of $750 on $4,000 worth of lodging. When you can save on those two things, everything else is what I call who cares money. If you have to pay full market rate on the car rental, it's not that big a deal because it's not the big part of your budget, even with what most car rental agencies are charging. And most people that are worried about it are worried because they blew their entire budget on flights and hotels. And there's very little room left in the budget. So it's very stressful to have to rent a car.
Yeah.
The same goes with excursions. We did more excursions in Costa Rica than we've ever done on any vacation. Why? Because we spent $1,500 on a $12,000 vacation. Who cares?
And a lot of people, by the way. Y'all took a good chunk of folks there. It was for your daughter, and you took her daughter's friend. So now you've got these bonus cool dad points forever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, that was expensive for us. We spent $1,500, and that was because we had to have 2-bedroom units. Those
right.
can be more expensive, and those limit your options. But with that said, we still spent $1,500 on a nearly $12,000 vacation.
And we do have a video from that too, by the way, which is very entertaining because it's literally from that beautiful suite that you were in. So just in case you don't believe us, we actually have video of that. Joel on site.
Yeah, hopefully we can include a link to that in the comments.
Yeah, I will. I'll go back. And here's a good tip, by the way, since we're talking about cars. Mary, thank you for that. Love your hair in this picture. I often recheck cars closer to when I go. I was able to drop our Napa rental by $80 or either to or buy still. Either way, that's good. So I love these tips that we give each other.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, these are all things that we'd love to save on. I still spend some time on it, but I spend 80% of my time focusing on flights and hotels or preparing for flights and hotels so I don't have to waste time trying to whittle down an expensive deal. If I don't like the price, I use points.
It's time reallocation, and I love that. But again, that's the biggest thing that we teach here in the village, and especially in the lounge, is just changing your mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It really is, because all of us, even me, instinctively think, oh, well, when I'm not thinking about anything yet, I'll get around to that when we start to plan a trip. But if you just turn that section of your brain off and be open to the idea of planning a trip that's in 8 months that most people aren't even thinking about yet, you'll save 80 or 90% on average. It's math. I mean, that's like proven numbers. We had 4 people this morning comment about trips that they did exactly that.
They did. I mean, a lot. I was pretty excited. We're going to show you a few of these at the end of it as well. And don't forget, if you're commenting, every comment gets you entered into, we're going to do a drawing of numbers, random number at the end. And that'll be the comment name. And that is for the travel savings card, which Joel just showed. And that's actually what he used for some of his vacations as well. Also, if you're hearing us talk about looking for these flights, not only are we teaching that in the lounge, but Brooke is over here commenting with different places that you can go to look for, with that pro tip about opening an incognito window. It's easier to just Google it. It's very easy to do, but just Google it. And yeah, I do that a lot, even with all of my flights. So yeah, somebody says, I'm so sold on getting good deals. I have good deals on hotels, just the flights that are uncontrollably high. That's why we're here.
Yep. Yeah. And the hotels are the easy part.
Yeah.
It's lining up getting the planets of the flights to align. And again, you don't have to worry about that alignment of planets if you schedule your trips around the flight deals. And I saw other questions. What are your go-to choices? We'll come back to that. Let's get through the other 3 things.
And Brooke is answering it too. So
cool.
if you're watching it, just go. It's always valuable to go back through the comments too.
Yeah.
There's some cool people in here. Yes.
All right. Let's see.
Cheap destinations, huh?
Okay. So this is another one I see this. I troll a lot of the travel forum. TripAdvisor, Award Travel, Points Guy, all of those. And, they're all fun. They're all ways we can slowly and incrementally become better travelers ourselves. But one I see all the time that drives me crazy is people saying, what's a cheap place that I can go? And that is almost always not going to be the case. And I mean, even though so many people go to Cabo because it's a quick trip, it's usually a cheap trip. Right. It's often a direct flight from many locations. The odds of that being the lowest cost destination on any given day you're looking, are practically zero. There is almost always a bigger, better, nicer destination than Cabo. Nothing wrong with Cabo. Been there multiple times myself. But I mean, you can go to Bali for less than what most people pay to Cabo.
Let me throw this in here. Brooke, thank you for that, because I just saw this too. Sage is rocking it today. And in the lounge, a bunch of us got flights to Japan for cheap. I got Phoenix to Japan for $239. It's about following what they teach. Yes. And then
Thanks,
emails.
Sage.
Emails we get with the deals, those should be booked ASAP, right? Those are emails that you do get when you're a part of the lounge. That's my 6 a.m. wake up call, is the email from Joel telling me where I think I should go.
Yep.
And that's all the deals.
I mean, we believe in what we teach. We teach you how to go and find these deals inside the lounge, but we also lead by example by finding them for you. It's kind of like having a personal trainer who says, I believe so much in push-ups that for 90 days, I will do them for you. Can't do that with a personal trainer, but you can with us.
I just, why you got to be that way? Why you got to even suggest that?
But hey, whoever invents that technology is going to be
a very, very rich person. I love this comment. Incognito was the word of the day. I heard the incognito thing was an urban legend. Right? Don't look in the mirror and say incognito 3 times, I guess. But it is true. Look at Brooke. She's like, you caved. She's like, all right, I'll tell you how to do it. It really is. So it's so easy to do. But yeah, so those are 80% of things you ignore: cruise, all-inclusives, bereavement affairs. Now, we don't mean to ignore when you have to take a bereavement fare. We mean that is something, be prepared for it. Absolutely. Yeah. And if you have family, start thinking in terms of ×4, ×3, who you need to take home with you with your points. Groupon deals. I'm a sucker for that. Who has 2 thumbs? This girl, love them, but I understand car rentals and cheap destinations. Okay. All right, here we go.
Let's see. 2 more.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
I mean, just troll our group. Just look through the comments, look through any other point hacking forum, and everyone asks, what's the next card that I should get? And so many people say, oh, what about such and such? They're offering 100,000 points. So-and-so is offering 60,000 points. They're in my hub. So-and-so is offering 150,000 points. There are good points and there are bad points.
Yes.
And those probably follow the 80-20 rule. About 20% of the points out there are worth more than the other 80% combined. You just have to have a strategy for which points you go and pursue, and stop going and getting the wrong points. Now, I'm not going to throw any individual company under the bus, but I will throw all of them under the bus by saying that Chase points and Amex points are better and easier to work with than all of the other points combined. And there are always a couple exceptions to the rule.
Yes, let me say Sapphire too, just to be real clear on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can go to our guide section. We'll tell you exactly which cards to get. If you go to jgoot.com/cards, we include links, and we only include links to the cards that our experts use themselves. That is, by the way, that's a referral link. So our experts, who you're hearing from in the group right now, some of whom, they would get some referral points. Once you have that card, you can refer friends. So, and all of us would rather have points than cash, because we know how to work magic with them.
They grow so exponentially. And I think that's the thing that people forget about that too. And I did just pop in our jgoot.com/cards as well. I see something else about trying Award Hacker or our tool, mycardchooser.com. You want me to pop that in there too?
Sure. Yeah. So Award Hacker is a great one for telling you where you'll get the most bang for your buck or bang for your points. And My Card Chooser, that's a little bit different strategy. We built that ourselves, and that's definitely a far more advanced strategy. But basically, that tells you what points you should get to build out a trip that you're planning on doing entirely on points. So 2 different strategies. One, Award Hacker, is to tell you what you can do with your existing points. mycardchooser.com will tell you how to build out a trip and how to go and get sign-up bonuses if you don't have the points already.
Right.
So two totally different strategies. Again, two totally different topics that we cover in multiple lessons inside Jagoot Lounge.
We do, and I'm just peeking over here too. We have a couple of. I'll post the links in here, but Stephanie had a pretty great victory story. Stephanie is one of our. We've actually interviewed Stephanie as well on the show here, but I love how she says she's gotten this great new spending. She's done great with her cards. She's on Globalist, Marriott Gold, but she says, "Did I open a ton of new cards? No." Just two. So let's be really clear about that, folks. We're not telling you to go out
80-20
there and
rule.
just, yep, there you go. See, fits in there too. Sorry, did I
Yeah.
steal your thunder on that? Because it's so good.
No, I stole yours.
No, it's all good.
I
It's so
forced
true.
80-20 rule on that statement. And it's
You
true,
did.
though.
You made it work.
20% of the cards will give you more mileage, pun intended, than the other 80% combined.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of choosing the right ones. I saw another question: are all Amex cards the same? No, they are not. They either contribute to membership rewards or they don't. So you're mostly dealing with the cards that are for fees. Amex Platinum, Amex Gold, Amex Green, Amex Blue. Those all contribute. Any of them will do. We talk about which ones and why inside the lounge because it gets a little more complicated than that. But we start with the ones that will get you the most bang for your buck. And many of our experts, that's all they need. Once they get the right cards and have the right earning strategies, we call those earning multipliers, you don't have to juggle lots of cards. You just have to know to earn more than average people earn and how to redeem more efficiently than average people redeem.
We do really do a deep dive in that group. So again, if you're interested, just type interested, and Brooke will get in touch with you, and then she'll have a chat with you because this lounge is not for everyone. Like you just said, when you start getting into multipliers, that's when my eyes cross just a tiny little bit. But I've taken all the information in, and there's so many people that are learning from it as well. And I will say from my own experience, no, not all Amex cards are the same because I'm stuck with a dumb Delta card. It would do very much for me. I'm bitter.
They call Delta points Sky Pesos.
They really are just not worth very much at all. What are what's the Malaysian ringgits? Maybe, yeah, Sky ringgits. Like it's just not worth a lot. So, but there's a lot of conversations about that too. Also about what all the benefits you get from that. And some of these cards could just blow your mind because you think they're super pricey. But you talk a lot in our videos about how you get that money back so quickly, which I love.
Yeah, a good way of thinking about almost all of those cards with annual fees that have travel perks that are the right travel perks. A, the perks alone usually outweigh the fee, but B, I like to encourage our clients to think of that not as an annual fee, but more like prepaying for travel perks that you're already planning on using.
Well said.
The Chase card, yeah, it's $550 a year. That sounds expensive, but the first $300 you spend on Uber, flights, hotel, parking fees,
just in the lounge. I mean, come on, me. When I get to the airport, I'm like, now it's a party. So that the party kind of starts at the actual airport as well. Let me throw this in here real quick. Somebody did say that they were looking at the Black MasterCard, but the annual fees are $495. But you're not suggesting that card, right?
Correct. That's not on our list.
I know, 80-20.
Yeah.
It's not in there.
Yeah, those are a little more super elite that just aren't necessary. And those you get into the area where you must be traveling a lot. The cards we recommend, even if you travel once or twice, like the beauty of even if you just travel once or twice a year, well, you can basically take those trips for free. Like you don't have to pay money. And if you only travel once or twice a year, like you can actually save 100%, not an average of 80 or 90, 100%.
Go back and look at the videos because we literally have story after story about that. Melvin, I'm with you. He has an Amex Sky Miles card. Is there a way I can get rid of it and still take advantage of the miles? Yeah, I'm asking for a friend. That's me too. So,
every one of these questions are probably topics that we've taken 20 to 60 minutes discussing inside the lounge.
It has.
Um, and speaking of, there's one more
Yes.
don't do activity.
Oh boy.
And this is mixed reviews.
Okay.
But chasing loyalty status. And when I say chasing loyalty or status, I'm talking about the people who say, I only fly Delta or I only fly United and so on.
Mm,
And most people that have that opinion because they work so hard to get that status that they're bound to that company to get
mm-hmm.
their money's worth. I mean, I literally had this conversation. One of our friends, they do pretty well. He has platinum status. His wife has gold status with Delta. He's like, I refuse to fly anywhere else. I'm like, but you book coach and you spend more time on the phone hoping to get an upgrade to business class. And I spend half what you spent to just book first class. Like I don't have to play the games
See
of
that mindset?
hoping for an upgrade.
Oh my gosh.
Because of the status that I spent. And I'm not going to throw figures, but they spend a boatload of money to get that status.
Yeah.
And Stephanie just posted today. She has gold status with half a dozen companies.
Yeah.
She's globalist, which is the highest status possible with Hyatt.
Yeah.
And
Hilton, Hertz, M Life Gold, Hyatt. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not spending obscene amounts of money. She's using a strategy.
What I love about it too, Joel, because I mean, for all of us who've done business travel, I mean, nothing's worse than that like crapshoot waiting game when you're like, you see the names, you see that like who's going to get upgraded, and you're like, come on, and just a nail biter every time. It feels like you can get a lot more control. It definitely is. Just looking at your spending, and even Stephanie mentions in this post too, she really didn't change that much. It was just concerted effort. So I felt like all of that was reachable in reading that as well. So Andrew says, I'd pay people to not get the Black MasterCard. That's funny. So loyalty status. Yeah. Stop chasing that.
Yeah.
And I feel you on that. That's old ways of thinking.
Yeah. And so, I mean, to bring it all home, the 20% of things we should focus on, guess what? It's rule 1 and rule 2. Rule 1 is we find bargain flights and we go where those deals are. Yeah. We've got clients who flew. Our best Vegas story wasn't even Vegas. It was a family of 9, blended family, 9 people that they travel with. They usually take road trips. They flew to Vegas for $9 each. I'm sorry, $11 each. It was $99 to fly 11 of them to Vegas, and they went and visited their friends or family in Reno. So, I mean, this is so profound. You don't even need points. Your vacations just become so cheap because you build them around the cheap airfares. Everything else becomes who cares money. Everything in that 80% column becomes who cares money. Are you still going to try to save a few bucks on car rental? Sure. On cruises? Sure. But you don't spend the majority of your efforts on that because it's fruitless. The best you can do is 30, maybe 40%. Why would you spend all that energy when the bigger expenses can save you 90%?
And there's a question here. Is there's a way to search for deals with open dates? And I know that's what I do with the notifications that I get from Jay Goot about them. Like, okay, it's got, I mean, of course there's going to be a time frame, but yes, you can just set that up of just open it up.
Quick tip. I mean, we've got entire videos on that. Airfare Watchdog. Go to Airfare Watchdog. That's going to get you better deals than Google Flights. You pick a destination, or you pick 10 because that increases your odds tenfold, and you let them tell you when the screaming deals are.
Yeah.
When one looks good, you look at your calendar, you see if it works, you save 60, 70, 80, 90, 95%.
So this person's asking, how did the family who traveled to Vegas find that kind of deal? I never see those type of deals. I will say that also depends on where you're flying out of, right? I mean, there are advantages and disadvantages to everywhere that you live. Like here in Denver, we would find that all the time because it's a hop skip and it's pretty easy. But you want to jump in on that, and then we'll start winding up.
Yeah. I would say the reason most people never see those deals is because they don't look every day. They probably look 5 or 10 times a day. or 5 or 10 times a year. I mean,
A year. Yeah.
when they're looking to plan, and that's one. And two, they're probably only looking for the 1 or 2 destinations they're thinking about going. Whereas
Right.
if you use a strategy to look at all of the possibilities, you can find them every day. We've covered videos on that, so I know we're running up on time. So let's kind of just bring this home and then answer any other questions we have. So, I mean,
Yes.
the other 20% have points, but not just any points, have flexible points. This is a freebie, people. Chase Ultimate Rewards or Amex membership rewards. Those are A, the easiest points to use on the planet, and B, the most flexible points to use. Every other card out there, I'm not going to name names, you got to be an advanced, super savvy point hacker to take advantage. Is it possible to get as much or more value? Yes, but you have to be very good at this game. You can learn to redeem Chase points and Amex points for maximum value with minimal skills.
And we have this link
just
here. That's
start
Jay
there and go to jboot.com/cards. Pick either the platinum card or the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Those are the 2 top cards that we recommend. If you have one, get the other. If you have the other, get the other.
Get the other one too. Again,
get them
this
both.
Part of Stephanie's
and learn how to take advantage of them, and that will get you sold on this hobby when you learn how to redeem those points.
It is, and that's what we've been watching here in the village for, well, now the last 7 or 8 months since we've been doing live streams too, is everybody's been taking these trips. So it's not just been that everything's starting to open up with the pandemic, but it's just that people have been traveling like this for a while. So we've had a lot of fun stories we've been able to see. Somebody did say, so look at Google Flights every day. Yes, I also love using Google Alerts.
Yep.
Right? Google Alerts are perfect too.
And the secret to Google Flights, by the way, is leave the destination blank. Let them do all of the heavy lifting. Don't search 20 different destinations manually every time. Just go, enter the dates you want to go, or use their Explore feature and leave the destination blank and let the low prices tell you where to consider going.
Right.
Doesn't mean you have to go, but
right.
it might, if it's a $200 flight to Europe, instead of the typical $800 or $1,000 that most people pay, it's probably going to be worth looking at your calendar to see if you can find a date that works.
Your curiosity will get the better of you when you start getting these deals over and over again. You're like, all right, I know I wasn't planning it. Yes, I need to go get my passport renewed or whatever it is you need to do, but you should do that right now. Always have your passport ready to go, right? Pro tip.
Yep, exactly. Yes, so. and the only other thing I will say is with flexible points, just once you get those points, treat them as gold. Don't piddle them away for a penny per piece. We kind of teach to not even redeem them unless it's at least 2 cents a piece, but it's possible to get 20 cents a piece. In other words, most people think 100,000 points is a lot of work to earn. It's not. You can get them through one of the cards we told you about. And then they think, oh, but that's only $1,000 in travel. That's only if you don't know how to redeem them. You can redeem them for 5, 10, or 20 cents per point. So instead of it 100,000 points only being worth $1,000 in travel, it can be worth $5,000 to $20,000 in travel.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself scratching your head, that's what the lounge is for.
It is.
You can go Google it on your own and figure it out. Or we've got actual look over our shoulder examples. Here's how we booked this flight to Africa in first class for $650.
Which I love. And I'm assuming that Brooke is answering this question because how fun would it be to be this person right now? I've made almost 1 million points since the first of 2020 between Amex and Chase. Horrible redemptions. Be that way no longer. Most of the time we're just trying to get all those points. So how fun for you to be able to do that. I love Andrew's pro tip. Also get the passport that's what I was laughing at my face. You probably saw that. You're going to need it for all the traveling you'll do. Yes, you will. So that's awesome. So, and I also have a number as we start to wrap up that will draw the number. That'll be the comment number, and Brooke will reach out to you for the travel savings card. So,
so get those last minute interested in for anyone who's interested in our coaching program. Let's bring this home. I got a couple more slides, but bottom line, 80-20 rule. 80% of those efforts will only result in 20% savings. 20% of the efforts, rules 1 and rules 2, will result in 80% of the savings and are worth more savings than all of the other tips and tricks combined. And I think, yeah, that's all I got to kind of just bring that home. So I'm sorry we didn't get to answer all of the questions that came in, but I can assure you that's exactly what we do. No question goes unanswered inside the lounge.
No.
We have tens of thousands of free subscribers. We have 0.1% of that. So we have 1,000 times more free subscribers than we have paid subscribers. And we put 99% of our energy into helping our paid subscribers.
We really do. And there are a lot of answers going back and forth too. So as you're listening to this in the replay, just go and take a peek at the comments as well. Look at Andrew. Use the points for F class Emirates to Dubai, and then F to first class to Maldives plus 10. Oh my God, Andrew, dreamy. Oh, look at that, at about 32 cents per redemption. Crazy.
32 cents. So someone is mentioning a flight where they got 32 cents per point, huh? Where'd they go?
That's Andrew.
Oh, Andrew, yeah.
Look at this.
Andrew.
Yeah, look at Emirates to Dubai, Maldives.
Good job, Andrew.
See, dreamy. I'm telling you, all kinds of good comments. All right, so let's see. We're probably at about 170 comments with all these new extra ones we got in here. So we are going to do a random number generator. I will let you drum roll this time. Do you want to?
All right. Should we show them so they believe us?
Yes. Hold on. I never thought about that. You're right. I probably do need to have some credibility to this. Hold on.
Yeah, giving away $100. You gotta make sure
they know.
Look at
this. See, all I did. Look how fancy I am. Random number generator. That's it. So generate and 137. There
Commenter
we go.
137.
Stop screen.
Well, that's a ton of comments. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, we spent the whole time talking about the.
We had a lot to say. We really did.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody was saying being able to use a lounge when you have a crazy layover is a lifesaver. Instead of sitting in the normal airport, you can get comfy chairs and also get fed and boozed. You're my kind of people, whoever you are.
Yeah, some of them have, you get free manis, petties.
Oh, massage. Mira was saying that unfortunately they were going to be on their flight, but it's all about the timing as well too. And you can think about that. I know you've talked about that too, of like, if you are booking flights and you find out there's a great lounge wherever that layover is going to be, you can get a better deal. Go for that layover.
Yeah.
All right. What else do you have going on this week, Joel, that's going to be in the lounge and in the village?
Oh, this is a fun topic. We are talking this week about parlaying status with one company into another one. So, you can basically, all of these guys are in competition with each other, or sometimes they collaborate with each other. If you have status with one hotel, an airline will give you status. If you have status with a hotel, other hotels will match that status. Yeah. So, it's not about having status with every company possible. It's about having status with the companies that will get you status elsewhere without any extra expense or effort.
Man, it's the time and money thing that I dig. I like I'm lazy, and I like things that are really easy to do. So, again, if you're just watching this, go back and look through the comments. It's always a great way to do that. And what I love about the lounge, real quick, one last kind of plug for it, is that there's all different types of travelers. So don't feel like, even with some of the trips that we're suggesting, that you may have a different way that you like to travel. We have people that don't really care about saving a bunch of money because they want to spend it all on the right. Because we have some people that just like coach, or they love to save money, but they're going to spend it all on the hotel. So there's all different types of travelers. So I do enjoy that too. You can look at it a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, it's really about learning how to use the tools to fit your travel lifestyle.
Yep.
We've got multiples who some travel twice as often in coach now, and they stay at nicer resorts. Mm-hmm. We have others who go first class all the way around and still spend less than what they used to spend. Yeah. You can the beauty of applying these as two different rules, you can apply them to your lifestyle however you like.
Journey's a destination, my friend. On that note, we are out of here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you next time.
Thanks.